Hey folks, and thanks for listening to our 5th featured episode of IPRA Barrel Racer Spotlight, brought to you by Seven Saddlery. Today, we're going to spotlight an IPRA barrel racer who really exemplifies what it means to chase a challenge and crush her goals. She's been in the top 20 of the IPRA the past couple seasons, and today, we're catching up with Janet Kerr about her recent adventure climbing the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, Mount Kilimanjaro. Hey Janet, thanks for coming on the Spotlight podcast.
No problem.
So for those of you who don't know Janet, she has been a multiple APRA finals qualifier. They co-sanctioned with the IPRA up in the Northeast. And her and Baby Fame have had a great amount of success the past couple seasons. They've been on the bubble to make the IFR the past couple of years. Janet, I just want to stereotype barrel racers for a second. I feel we are all adrenaline seekers by nature, and I think any challenge, whether it be in the barrel pen or something we've never done, we can all relate to that rush of accomplishment. So when you were talking to us at the APRA finals about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, I was just so inspired by you and your goals. And I thought of you when we started this IPRA Spotlight platform, because I think we can all take something away from your journey and experience with this. So tell us, what made you decide to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?
My aunt actually lives in Africa, and I had been to see her multiple times over the years. And the first time she took me to Tanzania to see Ngorongoro Crater, go on a game drive safari, that type of thing. We saw Kilimanjaro in the distance, and it kind of became a joke that we were going to climb it one day. And then Wayne would never go to Africa with me. He didn't want to deal with the flights. And finally, in 2021, he agreed to go. And when he saw it, he's like, let's climb that. And he's never been gung-ho to do anything. Like, he just kind of flows with whatever crazy idea I come up with. So that's how it got started.
Nice.
So.
And you went with a couple other people that you knew.
Yep, Heather Gone. She APRAs. We started traveling. It started as a girls' weekend to Disney World, and then we've been to Iceland and Africa before we got Wayne to go. We've been to Africa 3 times together now, and her brother Dan, and then a friend of mine from Wyoming. He used to be an outfitter, and he had taken my family packing up into the Wind River Mountains in Wyoming. And he's actually a pastor now, and he had said something in a sermon about movies on like K2 and Everest and all that. And I just sent him a message about, hey, we're going to climb Kilimanjaro in January. And so it ended up being the 5 of us. So it was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's great. So what was your preparation like at home getting ready for this?
Well, my goal was to be running 8-9 miles. I love to run anyway. Prior to this, I run all year. That's my stress reliever. But just 4 or 5 miles a couple times a week. So my goal was to run 8-9 miles 3 or 4 times a week, and then backpack on the weekends kind of deal. But I ended up, and I was up to that prior to Thanksgiving, and then I got really sick. And then I was worried I wasn't going to be fit enough, because I was just barely back to 4 or 5 miles a couple of times a week when we left. Whatever I had around Thanksgiving definitely knocked me down. So I would say I was probably the weakest link on the trip. So.
Oh no. Yeah, you said Wayne was like a mountain goat climbing.
Yes, Wayne and Aaron were mountain goats. They were always out in front. They would, they were sometimes kind of discouraging. They made it look too easy. So.
Wow. Okay, so Mount Kilimanjaro, a couple specs for that. It's 19,341 feet, located in Tanzania. It's the highest freestanding mountain in the world, so it's not part of a mountain chain, and it's Africa's highest point. It was it's a dormant volcano, extinct volcano. I'm not sure. How do you?
Well, it has 3 volcanic cones. And 2 of them are considered extinct, and 1 of them is considered dormant, that it could possibly erupt again. And that is the one that the highest point on is. I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I call it Uru Peak. which is the highest point, and that is on Kibo's cone, volcanic cone.
The base, is that safari?
Yeah, all around the base on the Great Rift. I think it sets 50 miles off the Great Rift, which leads down into the Serengeti and stuff. So there's Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Meru, and then you go into like Ngorongoro Crater, and then it goes into the Serengeti. So you can go on game drives and stuff at the base of Mount Meru, which is right next to Mount Kilimanjaro.
Tell us about like how what did you have to pack on this trip? How did you eat?
Eating was they had lots of soups and stews. They're just trying to get as much liquids in you as possible. They want you to drink like 4 liters of water a day because that helps with the altitude sickness or not getting altitude sickness. So like by day 6, looking at another, and it tasted very well, but by day 6 and 7, like we were over the soups and stews. We'd have probably given anything for like potatoes and steaks. But so you eat, I mean, they do feed you really well. You have no reason to be hungry or anything. And then as far as we packed a lot of snacks, just candy bars, stuff like that, to get the calories in you because you're burning so many calories. That would be the main thing. As far as clothes, we all had one backpack. You had one basically layer of everything. You had your short sleeve t-shirt, your long sleeve t-shirt, your thermals, your like Patagonian sweater, and then your light coat, your heavy coat. I took snow pants for some at night because it was cold. That kind of thing.
Did your backpack ever feel too heavy or like
we actually like we carried our day packs, which had like our water, our gloves, sunglasses, that kind of items in, but we actually had porters that carried your big pack for you.
Oh,
so yeah, those guys are the
nice.
Real MVPs. Oh.
Wow. Yeah, it's like I make John carry my water buckets if we ever have to
exactly
have a big long water bucket haul across some show or barrel race. All right. So, and then you were telling us about the bathroom situation. I thought was funny.
The most valuable porter of all is the one that carried the chemical toilet. So we didn't have to, go behind a rock kind of thing. So it's basically just like the toilet in your horse trailer, but they put it up at every camp for us. That was like the real luxury of the trip.
Yeah. That one they put right on a cliff.
Yeah, at base camp, I think they were being funny. It was on like the video I sent you doesn't do it justice. It's like a sheer drop off, like long ways down. Yeah, it was on the very edge of a cliff behind our tents.
Fall to your death.
yeah. And it was windy there too. So it was like, I think my post I put on Facebook, I'm like, I think the porters think they're being funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. How long did it take you to get to the summit?
It was 7 days of hiking, and we actually summited on like the morning of day 6. They get you up at midnight to start your summit bid, and we summited at like 7:30 in the morning, and that would have been on day 6. So
wow,
we stayed at 6 different camps. So you would camp each night. They got water out of the streams and stuff, and they were really great about filtering it and stuff. Nobody got sick. Everything was great like that. But their theory with the hiking is you climb high and then sleep low every night. So we just kept slowly climbing up, and most days we get to like 15,000 feet and then drop down to like 13,000 to sleep. That's to help you so you don't get altitude sickness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did that, I think 3 days. The first day when you head out, you're just, because you're leaving at like, I think it was like 6,800 feet or something, and you just pretty much hike straight up that day because you get to like 10,000 that night. But then after that, they start with like on day 3, I believe we climbed a lava tower, which was like 15,000 feet, and had lunch there, and then went back down to our camp that night. So
wow, that's interesting. I would feel like I'm not making progress, but
it really, it's like I laughed and said, there's not a flat place on that mountain. You're either going up or you're going down. It's like very rarely do you get to a place where like, oh, we're going to just walk along nice and even for a quarter mile. Like, it's just up or down. There was one camp, I can't remember which one it was, but we could see the camp. Like we came over a ridge and we could see the camp, and we're like, oh, we're almost there. What you couldn't see was this huge ravine that you had to go down and back up to get to camp. So it was still like 3 hours away, even though you could see it.
You said when you got to the top, like the fatigue caught up with you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, they wake you up at 11:30, you start hiking at midnight. It's dark. Pretty much 4,000, 4,500 feet just straight up. I mean, it's like switchbacks back and forth up the side of the mountain to get to the crater rim. It's exhausting. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It is just exhausting. My back got to bothering me really bad. So, like, every time there was a rock formation or something, I would always like put my hands on the rock and kind of lean forward. And I think the guides thought I was falling asleep because then they started singing and carrying on and it's cute. It's really cute. They're
Wow.
there to support you and help you get up there. But actually, it was just my lower back. Like I felt like a horse tying up. Like my legs would move, but it hurt to move my legs. But it wasn't my legs that were fatigued. It was my lower back.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
when we finally got to Stella Point, I was doing pretty good till then. And they're like, it's an easy 1 kilometer from Stella Point to the actual highest point. They lie. That was the
Oh
hardest
my
one
gosh.
kilometer in my life. And people that had summited before us would be coming back down and they'd be so happy. They're like, you're almost there. You're almost there. And you're like, really? I mean, I'm good. Can I just stop here? Like, but you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And the guides are great. I mean, we laugh about it now. If you ever hear us at a rodeo, like before somebody's getting ready to run or after a run going, good job, you can do it, good job. That's what we heard for 7 hours climbing to the summit. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
kind of become a joker among the groups. So
Wow.
they hustle you off the mountain. If there was one thing I could change, it was how fast you descend. Like you summit at 7:30 in the morning, you hike back down to base camp. They give you like an hour break for lunch and change clothes because as you go down, obviously it's getting warmer. You don't need your snow pants and stuff anymore. And then you hike till about 6:30 that night. And it's just straight down. Like I said, there's not a flat spot on that mountain. You're either going up or you're going down. And
Wow.
about halfway on that descent, my toes were just they were done. So,
Wow.
but
Um,
uh,
can you tell
but
us a
yeah,
little bit about the weather and the environment? Like, I was was it like tropical on the bottom, snowy on the top? What was
that's
the
it exactly. I mean, you start out in like the rainforest, and then you go to like I think they call it like moorlands and stuff like that, and then like almost like a desert setting. And then of course, the top is. We were very fortunate. Most people don't have snow on the ground at the summit. It's not snow covered year round or anything like that. But the day before, while we were sitting in base camp, this is how fast the weather can change. When you're in your tents, because the elevation is so high, the tents are really, really hot when the sun's out. So you'll be in your tent resting in like your t-shirt and leggings above your sleeping bag. And within like 35 minutes, a storm blew in and you have all your layers on, you're in your sleeping bag and you're shivering. And it's like snowing and
wow?
sleeting and everything like that. But that
Wow.
storm went through the day before we summited, which was great because it dumped a couple inches of snow up at the peak. So we actually got to summit and everything was completely snow covered. So
Wow.
that kind of made it extra special. But other than the one day coming off Lava Tower where we hiked in a little bit of rain, we had beautiful weather. I mean, it was pretty much sunny every day. We didn't hit like just that one day for about 2 hours. Did you have to put a rain poncho or anything on?
Did you
So,
plan for that?
oh yeah, you have all your rain gear, you have all
Well,
that. Yeah.
I'm like, did you plan your trip around weather, or you didn't really have to do that?
Kind of. We went during the peak rainy season is in the summer. We kind of were on the tail end of the rainy season, so it could have been bad, but we got very lucky. It was beautiful. The weather
Yeah,
was great.
the picture that you posted of the group at the summit, it looked like a clear day. Were you able to see?
Yeah, you could see forever. I mean, you
Wow.
could see Mount Meru off in the distance, and even at night at camps, you could see into the valley and see like Moshi and some of those towns down below in the valley. It's so clear up there. The sky up there is amazing, just because they don't have all the lights like we do. You can see stars among stars. It's beautiful.
Wow. What I've learned about you is that you're always smiling. You have the best sense of humor. I would say you're one of the most approachable barrel racers out there. and the things you've done for some of the other girls. Like, I know you loaned baby Fame out to another girl who needed a horse later in the year. So I just think you're a standout role model for all of us. And I'm interested, what are your goals for this year?
I mean, I love to make the APRA finals. They're in my backyard. And I'd love to make the IFR, but every time because I'm such a goal oriented person, then I just get like tunnel vision. And I think that's cost me not last year, but the year before that, because I didn't really understand. Like, basically, my horse was getting sore, and I was so focused on going to them rodeos, I didn't realize she was getting sore. So, like, I've learned a lot from those couple of years. So, like, I would love to make the IFR. That's like my ultimate goal. I'm very goal oriented, but yet I don't focus on that, because if I do, I won't pay attention to everything around me. I'll just get so worried about getting to those rodeos and stuff like that. So that's ideally someday I want to go. Hopefully one of these years it'll work out, but mainly now I've just learned to appreciate every rodeo, every run. I've seen horses get hurt. I've seen people have great years and their horse go out halfway through the year and not have anything else to go on. So I've just learned to appreciate it. I love to rodeo. I don't want to stay home. Like, I want to be out on the rodeo road, and hopefully it all comes together one of these years. So I always thought I wanted to do Everest Base Camp. I don't know if I want to do that now. So
Wow. What is that elevation?
I believe it's about like that 19,000. It might
Wow.
be 20,000 actually, but I don't quote me on that. That was one I need to look up. It's just I don't do any technical climbing like ice pick, ladders over crevasses, stuff like that. I just want to. That was what's so appealing about Kilimanjaro is honestly the average fit person can do it. Like, you don't need any technical climbing skills. You just need to be kind of hard-headed and a lot of determination, and you can do it.
One thing I would really love to know, when you got home from Africa, how many days were you home? Because shortly thereafter, you were in Bowling Green. And I'm like, weren't
three
you just
days.
in Africa?
Yeah,
Where?
3 days.
So did you enter Bowling Green from Africa?
Actually, I had a friend enter me because being a Lone Star Rodeo, it takes like 30 seconds for a phone call to go through when you're out of the country. And there was no way I could hit redial fast enough.
Yeah, so. Like redial 200 times.
Yeah. But no, I had a friend enter me. Yeah, that wasn't the most well thought through plan, but we had already had an appointment in Kentucky we needed to go to. So I was like, well, if I'm going to go that, I might as well go to Bowling Green.
Is there anybody out there you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
I'd also always like to thank Chrome Girl Accessories, Draw It Out East Coast, and Buckeye Nutrition for the rodeo side of things. They always stand behind me and help me out. And of course, my husband, Wayne, who goes along with all my crazy ideas, whether it be rodeos or climbing mountains. Though that was originally his idea, Mount Kilimanjaro. So.
All right. Congratulations. This is a huge accomplishment, and we're all so proud of you. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you on the road.
All right. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
We really appreciate everyone listening to our featured podcast today of Janet Kerr. Don't forget to place your guess on Facebook of what last hole will take this year to make the IFR. Everyone have a safe, fun weekend. I'm your host, Nicole Helm. Good luck to all the contestants, and we'll see you on the road.